It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought us to the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained by rational principles the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the powerful Kingdom of England and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and he explained it in ways that were understandable to the people, to all of the people. A great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we are able to reason, we're able to talk to each other, we're able to listen to each other, and we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it. This is Rudy Giuliani, and I'm back with you for an episode of Rudy's Common Sense. And today we have with us someone who is going to be critical to what America is like in the next 4 years, Brad Parscale. Brad is the campaign manager of Donald Trump. I think everyone knows who he is. So let's go right to the interview, Brad. So how do you compare this to the prior campaign? I mean, a lot of people think you're new to politics. Of course, that's ridiculous. You got your feet wet big time. You were like thrown in the ocean in 2015, 2016. I remember when you were thrown in the ocean, you learned how to swim, you learned how to be an Olympic swimmer, and you're one of the people that won the election for him in 2016. So how does that now change, particularly with he's lost one of his great assets, the ability to have those tremendous rallies. Hopefully they're coming back now, but we lost 2 months of those.
Yeah, well, first of all, Mayor, thank you for having me on. It's a privilege to be on with you. I remember sitting on the plane with you back in 2016. That was kind of fun. We'd sit around, me, you, a few others that are, some are still around, some aren't, and the president. And I've been doing this straight now for 5 straight years now. It's almost, by the time this is over, 6 straight years. I don't think few people have more experience running a campaign now. I've been doing it every day for years. Most people do it for a couple hundred days. I've been doing it for a couple thousand days. So it's one of those kind of things. But yes, the rallies are significant to our return. When we went virtual during the COVID, pandemic, we had to turn to a virtual campaign. We were very well built for that. We're a very digital forward campaign, but nothing like having President Trump on the road. The amount of data we collect on the road, the president's message that gets cut up into clips to become on TV. Right now, you have a very one-sided approach from the media, which I'm sure you see because the president's not out there as much speaking. So this Saturday, we're going to have at least probably 100,000 people descending on Tulsa, and that's going to be a big deal. It's going to bring a lot of media. It's going to bring a lot of great visuals, and it's going to allow the president to finally speak and start to have a contrast message against Joe Biden, who is, bunkered down in his basement because if he goes out and speaks, no one's going to understand what he's saying.
Of course, you're criticized for bringing them all together because of the COVID risk. But of course, they don't mention the thousands and thousands and thousands of protesters who were arm in arm, almost lip to lip, for days and days. But that was scientifically okay for them to do.
Well,
that.
It's a couple of big differences. I mean, we're actually going to do temperature checks. We're actually going to hand out masks. We're going to hand out hand sanitizer. We're doing a lot of things to help.
You didn't see Antifa doing that during the protest?
Yeah, they didn't do any of that. They're out there holding.
I saw them when they were checking temperatures, so they were very careful.
Yeah, no, it's never happened. We're gonna provide a lot of stuff. And by the way, that's above and beyond what even Oklahoma right now has. Oklahoma has a very low case rate. They're trying to do everything. Last night they filed a lawsuit which has already been thrown out. They were trying to do everything they can to try to stop this, and we're not going to allow that to happen because they know if President Trump gets back out with the American people, starts getting back on the road, they're in trouble because their candidate. We get more people in tents outside our rallies than they can get in their rally.
Now, one of the critical issues in 16 that people didn't realize until after the election is the tremendous amount of data collection that you were doing. Oh gosh, starting almost from the beginning of his rallies.
Yeah.
And when you say the rallies are a gold mine of information, in addition to everything else, you mean for your data operation. That's a tremendous amount of information. And can you explain in a way where you don't give it away any secrets to the public how it works, what you do? Because it's fascinating.
You were one of the first people. I remember actually, Mr. Mayor, you were one of the first people I was explaining this to on the plane back in 2016, late 2015, and I was explaining like how we built an operation. The president had such high demand. We understood that there was a give take there, that people were willing to give up their information because how much the demand and just visceral feeling they had towards the president. We needed to understand what was happening. There were so many people with low propensity turnout. One of the most amazing things is 25% of the people that show up for Trump rallies haven't voted, but maybe once in the last 20
even now
years.
with the ones.
Even now, I'm going to have a data later today or tomorrow, depending on when this podcast shows, but that are actually going to show even this million people that hundreds of thousands of people haven't shown up to vote. That data allows us to build models, and what that means is we can look at and find other Americans that look similar to these people. We are able to find them and see what is the type of person right now that is likely to show up that hasn't the last 20 years. And even what's funny is almost 10% didn't even show up in 2016. Now think about that number, 10%. That's a significant number that doesn't show up in polling because these currently aren't in the models to poll. The president is very underpolled. He is that way because large portions of the American population that have no voting history, who are very off the grid, feel very visceral around this president, want to show up, their enthusiasm out the world. I wouldn't be surprised if our enthusiasm is much more in the 70% than the current reported 60%.
What was it last time?
It was in the 40s. So
our enthusiasm in 16 was
higher now.
It's higher now
because you have
it feels that, Brad. It feels that way. I mean, I remember talking to you a lot in 16 because I was at every one of the rallies with him. I was with him 24 hours a day. And the first time I realized he was going to win was the first rally I went to, because it was in June. It was in June, and it was a rally like it was 2 weeks before the campaign. The people were bouncing off the walls. I've never seen that
rally
before.
Intensity, yes, our rally intensity now for the guy that built the original system to like log rallies and to get people to come to him. I've been in that position ever since the very first rally. We used to get 8,000, 10,000 signups. Now we get hundreds of thousands of signups. We used to have to, advertise. Now all we do is literally send an email out, notify the press, and the people come running. Right. We'll probably have a tent city of people waiting for Tulsa. The demand and the feeling people have to support this president, and I think, and in contrast, Joe Biden doesn't have that. Most polls show him having somewhere between 20 and 24% enthusiasm. They say they really want to go vote for him. Most people, they just don't have that intensity. So the question, during the middle of their COVID crisis, can they get a whole bunch of people that don't really like Joe Biden to show up and vote?
So is the intensity level between Biden and Trump even wider than between Hillary and Trump?
Yes. Where I thought Hillary had a higher enthusiasm. There were a lot of, I believe, kind of mid-aged women who were excited to see a female president. That was a driver for them. We saw, usually only about a 15 to 20 point gap between the two. We're seeing gaps of 40 to 50% between the president and Joe Biden. It's almost twice.
Just intuitively, it would seem to me that Hillary had a certain number of supporters that were voting for her. They believed in her over all the years, the woman, the whatever. Biden basically is the guy who can beat Trump from their point of view. They're all voting for him because he's the one guy they think can beat Trump.
They want the vote to be a referendum.
I think they prefer somebody else. Somebody more of a candidate. But this is the best they got, and they're going to go with him.
Yeah, well, they were just looking for a rubber stamp for a referendum. That's all they wanted. Somebody that they could hide in the basement, wouldn't say anything, who's a nice guy, put him down the corner and let him hide. The problem is what they found is a candidate that can barely finish a sentence. And and we see it time in and time out, and who has some other issues too. I mean, we haven't even gone down the path of some of the things, and you search the C-SPAN articles, archives, you find some very interesting things. This guy's got some creepy issues as well.
And now we'll take a short break. When your life is in chaos, your home is your safe haven, your most valuable asset. Imagine losing your home to some online scammer. In an instant, you have no place to live, and your home, your security, your nest egg in an emergency isn't yours anymore. Is this even possible? In a word, yes. It's called home title theft, and the FBI calls it one of the fastest growing crimes. My friends at Home Title Lock demonstrated how quickly and easily online scammers can steal our homes. This is a legal title to a home in California. All home titles, yours and mine, are vulnerable. They're kept online, where thieves, foreign and domestic, hunt them. They simply print your home's title, forge your signature, stating you sold your home, put a fake notary seal on it, and refile it as the new owner. In an instant, your home is theirs. Then they can borrow against it, and you'd be responsible for the payments. Or they could try to evict you. I'm serious. Your bank doesn't cover you, and neither does your homeowner's insurance. Home Title Lock does. For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual firewall around your home's title. If some cyber thief tampers with your home's title, they're on it, helping to shut it down before you lose your home. Here's what I want you to do. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim and don't know it. You will receive 30 days of free Home Title Lock protection using the promo code Rudy. You need to do this now. Get 30 days of free protection with promo code Rudy at HomeTitleLock.com. We're now going to resume our conversation with Brad Parscale. I think I can. I can't even say anything about it because I've investigated him so much. He probably is the most ethically challenged human being to run for president. The family, which is, he's been in politics all his life. He's never had what some people would call an honest job because they tease about politics and say it's not an honest job. It's not nice. But he's never had a real job where you make money. The brother became a multimillionaire. The other brother became a multimillionaire. His son, who bankrupted a business, unfortunately has drug problems, became a multimillionaire. And they got it off selling his oath of office. It's simple as that.
But you actually know, Mayor,
it's terrible.
The number one issue that people, the number one issue that people don't like in him, Mr. Mayor, it's actually that he would be over 80 years old when he's in president. Right. That is actually a lot of Americans and a lot of older Americans actually feel like, and after hearing him speak, think that I think 70% of Americans believe he needs to go through a dementia test. They actually think.
I'm glad you raised that because I think that's so cynical. You know, during the course of one of the things I did for the president, I was coming back from Washington. I sat with Henry Kissinger, and Henry's over 90, and Henry looks very old, and Henry has a hard time moving. And I sat down with Henry. We were delayed on the plane. We had a 3-hour conversation. He's more lucid than most of the 20-year-olds I know. So there are people who can be 80 and 90, and they're sharp as a tack. My God, I know some of them. And there can be people who are 50 who are afflicted by it.
Yes.
This is such a phony thing. The other day, the president was walking down the ramp carefully, because if he didn't, he would have broken his leg. Then immediately he began walking normally. And all the Democrats are saying he needs a health test. Meanwhile, Biden is showing 8 out of the 10 factors for dementia. Every day he's on.
He is. Well, people have the president. The 2 videos they showed yesterday were very disingenuous towards the president. One is the president actually wears true leather bottom shoes because he's got good style. Right. And so you can't walk down a wet metal thing. You'll slip and
imagine
fall.
If that happened.
And number 2, he always drinks water when he has a tie on with 2 hands because he's very careful. He does not like to get spots on his tie. He's very buttoned up with his dress, and he's very careful about that stuff. So he always drinks water and tips a little bit slowly so the water doesn't run out each side. And I've seen him do that for 10 years of working for him.
I know him for 30 years. I think he has more energy now than he had 30 years ago. And
I actually told him that also. I actually think right now, I think how hard he's worked over 4 years and how many issues he's dealt with, he's become even sharper in understanding and quicker at getting even better at results that he does. I'm in meetings with him every day, and he is on me now like white on rice right now. And I think he's sharp.
So what are the main issues that his supporters should focus on? Because those are the people who be listening to us. What are the main issues they should be focusing on to talk to their neighbors and try to invigorate people to take part in this election?
Well, I think there's a few issues. I mean, first of all, the president is much more in a position to kind of bring back the economy. I think we see the numbers yesterday. We already see some of the retail numbers. American people want jobs. They want to get back to work. We are a country of people who would like to work, who want to be successful, who believe in the American dream. And the president is in a much better position to rebuild the economy. I also think that, the president he has a lot of issues with the law and order and safety, and I believe the American people are over this. I think we're going to see states like Minnesota now become available and become opportunity states now for us. Because I think as one person, especially you, Mayor, this president believes in law and order, supporting the police. A majority of people do not believe in this abolish the police movement. They say defund. They want to get rid of the police. They want anarchy. Look at Seattle. Look at these places. And I think the president is going to be a president that says, that's something we can't accept for this country.
And the most amazing thing that I saw with Senator Scott, he has brought about reform of this whole area of police brutality that no Democrat's been able to do in 30 years. I mean,
yes.
the agreements that he reached with Senator Scott, and I've been in law enforcement for 20 years of my life. I've been supportive of these things for 20 years of my life. And they've been blocked largely by Democrats. Clinton wouldn't do it. Obama wouldn't do it. And they're basic common sense things. Have a tracking program for cops that are bad cops. We all know most cops are wonderful. There are a couple of bad apples. If we can find the bad apples in advance, we solve the problem. You guys now have the technology to help us do that. I mean,
Yes.
technological geniuses like you, Brad. And law enforcement needs to use those people. And they do. We use it to track criminals. So now we should use it to figure who are the bad guys. Let's get them in advance and let's get them out.
Yeah. Well, if the media was honest, they would actually see how much the president's done for Black Americans compared to Joe Biden. And things like this. I actually believe one of the big things of this election is going to be the president stands for school choice, for the opportunity for young Black Americans to go to schools of their choice, to pick themselves up and to get a better education. And Joe Biden is completely against that. He wants Black Americans in these towns that have horribly run school systems in some areas because of the Democratic infrastructure that's been there, do not have a choice. He's also pushed for more HBCU funding. He continues to bring opportunity zones, continues to do so many things for Black Americans that led to some of the lowest unemployment in history. And he's going to do it again for the Black community.
Now, how about the convention? How is that going to work out? And I mean, I love conventions. I'm so glad we're going to have one, but I know the criticism we're going to take for it also.
Yeah, well, the governor in North Carolina just really, I think he's kind of messed up his reelection efforts. I think what he did was just was devastating. He removed $100 million of economy from the Charlotte area, and the business people in the community there should be upset. But, Governor DeSantis in Florida was welcomed us with open arms. We have repositioned that for Jacksonville and northeast Florida. The community there is, and the mayor has said, we're open for business. We're going to see a good convention. We're going to see lots of people there. We're going to see a great speech from the president. It might be a little bit different. It might be a change, but for the most part, to the viewing public, there's not going to appear to be much difference.
The governor of North Carolina has just accepted in place of the convention a large Antifa Black Lives Matter protest, because you don't get COVID. You don't get COVID when there's an immunity from COVID.
Well, it's also, instead of bringing money to the community, they'll burn and destroy businesses and ruin the economy. So that's your Democrat governor there in North Carolina's logic. Let's destroy business instead of building business.
Now, do you see focusing a good deal on something that, of course, the media doesn't bring out? Almost all of these riots, the protests, which we have no problem with, but the ones that became riots, every single one is a Democratic mayor who was holding the police back. I mean, you have hundreds of yards of footage of stores being looted, liquor being stolen, furs being stolen, jewelry being stolen, and the police are standing there like this. just standing there watching. The poor men were held back by the mayor, by the Democratic progressive mayor.
Well, Mayor, this goes back to our actual ultimate fight, the media. The media does not portray that. They blame it on President Trump. They do things because they want to pass the buck. If you look at Minnesota, you had in Minneapolis, you had a Democratic mayor, Democratic police chief, Democratic AG, Democratic governor, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh no, look, it's Mr. Trump's fault." And I think that just goes to the hypocrisy we see on the left. I think it goes, we see the complete bias from the media. And what's funny now, Mr. Mayor, when we used to sit around on the airplane back in 2016, they tried to hide it back then. The New York Times like, "Oh no, we're fair." Now they just explicitly just say, "You know what? We don't like you. We're against you."
Yes.
Who cares?
Yes.
And that's the change.
Absolutely true.
If we ever did one thing, we finally made them admit that they're complete bias hypocrites.
Are we ready for another whatever they're going to do to us? I mean, I'm half convinced that these things are, if not designed to hurt him, they're exaggerated to hurt him.
I'll tell you, Mayor, you know me. I'm not going to sit around and just accept the media's victory.
That.
So we've spent the last 3 years building some new technology we have not revealed yet. I'm not going to reveal it here because it's a secret, but next time I see you alone, I'll talk to you about it. But we have a way, we're going to converse with 100 million Americans that we need to get out to vote directly without the media in the middle, without social media in the middle. We have a way to do that that's been unprecedented in American history. And when we turn that engine on, we're going to be able to deliver votes and bring a GOTV, get out the vote effort that's never been seen in American history. Because I understand the media is going to do everything they can, from suppression polls to everything else they can, to try to convince our people not to get out a vote. And there's over 100 million Americans that love this president, that can get out to vote, and we don't need all of them to show up. But if all of them do, we're going to see one of the biggest landslide victories in American history. And so the president did something very amazing, which a lot of Americans don't get. The day after he won the election, he knew that wasn't the end of his fight. He knew it was the beginning of the fight. So he started his 2020 campaign the day after his inauguration. He wanted every single moment to be building towards that fight.
You should make the point that I don't think people know. The campaign never stopped.
Never stopped, because the president knew the media wouldn't stop.
Yeah, no honeymoon for Donald Trump, right?
Nope, never one day.
Well, I got to tell you two things from the ardent Trump supporters, his friends, people who love him. I'm going to tell you two things they're very, very happy about. They are, a lot of them are businessmen. They saw you hit with the unknown, meaning the shutdown of the country, and the campaign seemed to, within a day, react to it, and they kept getting notices, they kept getting information, they kept getting involved in virtual conferences. You and your team get a lot of credit for that. We didn't lose momentum during that period of time.
We picked up 350,000 volunteers during the COVID crisis while at home. We continued to get millions of viewers every night. We pretty much started our own online TV show. We needed to continue to communicate because the media thought the COVID opportunity was a time to finally shut Trump out, shut us down, shut down the voices from the right, and control the message explicitly, because they are who knows how to save us. And I think that's going to be proven. And I think in the future, not that the virus was fake, but the way they handled it was about their control and not about our safety. And I continue to think that.
What you did was you increased the media presence, the social media presence, and you improved it. You took it up to a higher quality, so it drew people's attention. But the main thing that a lot of people, maybe they don't remember because they weren't in the campaign, the main thing you did in 16 was the last 3 weeks of the campaign, figuring out where to go.
Moving the money.
That really changed the election. Go to Wisconsin instead of Minnesota. Better chance to move Michigan than Minnesota. I remember the last night of the campaign, we made a little trip to New Hampshire because we thought we had a chance to flip one vote. We came, a couple hundred votes away from doing it. And that was a good move.
If it wasn't for Ayotte, I think we would have won
it.
Without Ayotte being up there running.
I thought we had it. When we left, I thought we had it, and you made a call to him, and they wanted him in Michigan. It was 11:30 at night. We showed up in Michigan on Election Day, 1 o'clock in the morning. Thousands of people waiting for him. He would have, if you called him again, he would have gone to two more. I mean, he would have stopped at 3 in the morning and 6 in the morning also. He was still up.
He'll do it again too. He'll do it again this time. He's already telling me he wants to do 4 or 5 rallies a day. And if I were a Democrat candidate like Joe Biden, I would be scared to death, this guy. Because once we get on the road and we start hitting all of these swing states, even if this thing is close, which I don't think it will be by then, the president's sheer ability to bring out the vote. Look what he's done in some elections. Look at Ohio's governor election. He was down 10. Within the president going to visit and doing anything, he wins by 8. 18-point changes. You can see it state after state, place after place. When the president shows his presence on a local media and a local DMA, the turnout just skyrockets. And when we're across this country, because remember, this campaign right now, Mr. Mayor, has more money in the bank than we spent in the entire 2016 campaign.
Wow. Well, I'm going to tell you one last piece of advice. Let him always think he's behind. He's much better from behind. Oh, whatever. If he's ahead by 10 points, put him behind by 3. Save the 10-point. I like him. Always liked him better behind. People don't realize it. When he gets one of those 10 or 15% polls, all he starts thinking about is, how am I going to change it? And it creates the creative juices. He really is. There are boxes like that. I mean, there are great boxes.
I can't wait to see him Saturday.
They take a couple of punches and they come back. He definitely is a counterpuncher. He could be the most charismatic politician of our times. And you and he have changed campaigning. You've changed campaigning.
I think he's going to be one of, yes, he did. We have changed, the president and his team, and with the leadership of Jared Kushner and the president and others, have literally changed the way politics works, the way campaigning 100%. Works. And I believe he is the most popular president in American history. He has by far the most visceral experience that's ever occurred. And let's just take, for example, Saturday. 1 million Americans signing up, 100,000 descending in Tulsa, in Oklahoma. These things don't happen to other politicians. Nothing against Bush or nothing against, Clinton and these people, but they didn't have 100,000 people descending on Tulsa, Oklahoma when they showed up. They got a couple thousand people, rah, go home. It got a little bit of TV time. This president already has people camped out. It's wall-to-wall TV coverage for him in the entire Midwest, from Texas to Kansas to Arkansas, and you just have not seen this in American history.
It's also by far the most transparent president, which is why I think they become so close to him. He communicates with them constantly, and then we're being asked to go back to a Biden who's hiding in a basement. I mean, Obama once went 13 months without a press conference. Biden may never have one. Biden may never have a press conference.
Yes. Well, he's already I think it's 75 days today or something like that. Look, Biden, all he does is make canned statements written from political, people around him. And anytime he goes off the cuff, you saw on his last stage with the mask hanging off him, he actually told the public that he's boring himself and that he doesn't know what to say next. And that should scare the crap out of every American.
And every police officer in America is saying, you told us to shoot to wound people. Did you ever consider, Joe, if we wound them, they kill us? We're shooting at them because they're pointing a gun at us. We're going to shoot to wound them so they can kill us and our partner. Joe, it's over for you. You're too old and you should go retire.
Biden's so weak, if he won office, he would be a complete puppet of the far left, and the policy changes would take this country in a way we might not ever come back from. And every American that loves work, loves freedom, and loves the ability of the American dream should do nothing else but vote for President Trump.
Well, I think everyone that listens to this can have a lot of confidence that the president's got the right support. You really did a terrific job in 2016, and I know from watching on the inside, you're doing even a better job this time. And your people, you pick very good people, too.
Thank you. And I hope, Mayor, you come back on the road.
I will.
We got a little bigger plane. We got a bigger plane this time.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the McDonald's, the pizza,
McDonald's,
and the Chinese food.
Well, Air Force One. I will tell you the biggest change from 2016 to 2020, the meal improvements on Air Force One versus McDonald's and Pizza Hut. I couldn't eat any more chicken nuggets.
I didn't go on a trip for about a year after he became president. I went on a trip, and I actually told the two people I like that kind of food. So we're going to get great McDonald's, and we get this fancy food with the White House and the what. Of course, they stole all the White House.
After 100 days straight, though, 100 straight days of chicken nuggets wears you out. Like it'll change your life a little bit. But it was fun though, and I'm ready to go back on the road. And the greatest thing about going on the road with this president is he loves his country so much. He loves the people so much. He loves his fans so much. He makes it fun. So that much hard work is fun because we're out fighting for the American
agree
people.
with that
Who doesn't
completely,
want to do that?
Well, good luck. You know you can call on me for anything, and I definitely have to make some of those trips. Or,
well,
okay?
I'm actually going to talk to you tomorrow,
right.
so I appreciate it. Right?
Take care, Brad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Take care. I believe that interview was very, very interesting. It really opened up a lot of things that I don't think people know about the inside of a campaign, and how Brad Parscale in 16 was one of the 3 or 4 critical players that elected the president by his use of statistics, his ability to tie those statistics to voter behavior, and his ability to make judgments about where the president should be. Where should he expend his energy in that last 3-4 weeks of the campaign, where a crucial error can cost you a state? You know, you have a chance in Michigan, you have a chance in Minnesota. But where do you have the better chance if you can only go to one? Well, Michigan. So he put him in Michigan. That's based on 2 things. It's based on gathering statistics early and often during the campaign. In this case, he was gathering them last time for a year. Now he's been gathering them for 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. So it should be even a better and more refined base. And number 2, it also helps you know where people are inclined toward your themes for the purpose of advertising. So it's much more targeted to where you get the most out of your time and your money, and you get a much better understanding of people's profiles. Brad is excellent at that. The criticism he's received is he doesn't know politics. That's really a mistake. Brad learned politics in a crash course in 16. And now he's been at it for 4 straight years. Very, very few people, if any, that would have the ability to guide this campaign the way he has, both from the point of view of the science of statistics and then the art and science of politics. And I think, having listened to him, all of you Trump supporters should feel pretty good that we've got the right guy at the top. But number 2, all you anti-Trumpers, start worrying. This is Rudy Giuliani. I'll be back with you with Rudy's Common Sense.